Welcome Abhiram Garu. Welcome Vishwanath Garu. Welcome Sunita ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
I think I think 2 or 3 sessions we were focusing on what is organization behavior, what are the theories of uh, uh, organization. All these things we were discussing in our previous session. Today, I'd like to, I know sometimes, um, see, because they look a little bit abstract. For some people, they'll be boring also, but they give a comprehensive picture about the entire subject. We need to learn. Therefore, I have presented in my previous sessions. Today, I'd like to take you to management of change. We will discuss that one. Whenever you introduce change, then there's a possibility for you to get into a set of conflicts in the organization. You will try to discuss that one also. Then these conflicts over a period of time, when they persist, they may result in stress and burnout also. Therefore, we'll be discussing change, conflict, stress, how to manage these things. These things are very important in our day-to-day life, not only in our day-to-day life, but also um, in managing organizations. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Right, right. There's something I written. Most people hate change, any kind of change, if doesn't jingle in their pockets. So, if that is not going to result favorably, I think we like to hate any kind of change. Now, uh, in this unit, we are going to discuss some of these things. The simple meaning of change is any alteration which occurs in the overall work environment of an organization. Very, very simple definition. Any alteration which occurs in the overall work environment of an organization. If you can, it's not, when I say if you can, I'm arrogating. Only thing is, I'm trying to remind you that I was sharing with you, there are certain elements of an organization, elements. The moment I say the 5 or 6 things we need to remember clearly: task, structure, technology, people, and strategy, they operate in an environment. Now, any alteration in any of these elements will result change in the organization. Change results from the pressure forces that are there in the environment. It could be technical, it could be managerial, it could be marketing, it could be financial, it could be anything. Then any change in any part of the element will affect change in the organization. Similarly, even in our personal life. Now, once a change takes place in any of these things, it will have impact on the other things also. If the way we work is changing, then it will have impact on the other things also. The moment the technological process undergo change, they will have impact on the other parts also. The moment structural changes they come, that will have impact on the other elements of the organization. The moment new people they come or old people they leave the organization, there is bound to be a change in organizations. The moment we change our strategy to achieve the goals of the organization, we change. I think a change occurs in other parts also. So change affects all the parts of the organization. This change could be a reactive change or a proactive change. By reactive change, I mean when after the change occurs, when I start changing, I call it reactive change. On the other hand, I foresee the change that is going to take place and I prepare my organization for that. And that kind of change, I call it a proactive change. Now, people, they use these words transformation and change. There is a slight difference between these two words, transformation and change. They can ask you in short notes also, how do you differentiate change from transformation? Change means we do things differently. When I talk about transformation, it is a new way of being. A change talks about a shift in behaviors, whereas transformation talks about an overall shift in the value system of the organization. Now, change and transformation. Change is a physical process. It is simple, time-bound. It happens extremely to human beings. It has embodied in the policy of the organization. Whereas transformation demands a process, it involves human being. Transformation happens to be a complex, it is not that simple as we consider. Then transformation takes time. The time is not a short time, usually more than what we expect. This transformation requires exceptional skills and also reorienting our people. Then transformation doesn't have a final script. So this is how we try to differentiate between a change and transformation. Now, people, they ask, what causes change? What causes change? We tell people there are certain environmental factors which cause change. For example, all of us know Today, the social environment has undergone change. Our value systems have undergone change. The way we walk, the way we talk, what we eat, everything is undergoing or have undergone or still undergoing a lot of change. Now, when these changes are taking place, I think you should know how to manage. And a small example I can give you. For example, culture and social changes. There was a generation, we consider the generation as a baby boomer generation. In every family, a minimum of 5 to 7 people, 7 children were there. You might be thinking, why this fellow is talking all these things? Now, when these 5 to 6 children were there, they used to design their own games. They were playing, they were fighting, they were settling, they were negotiating, they were doing everything on their own. And if you ask your parents and others, they tell, so many people, they used to visit their families, relatives, they used to visit their families. So that culture, I'm not saying the right culture or wrong culture and all these things. That culture was totally different. Now, and these people, they are well versed regarding how to negotiate, how to play, how to do a teamwork, and all these things, they came into organization. Now, slowly, the culture has undergone change because of various reasons. And today, most of the families, they are having, I think, are the 1 or 2 children, and they are given everything in plenty. They do not know or they don't experience something called scarcity. And even before they ask, they get everything. And I know you ask your parents whether their parents know which class, how they were studying, or whether their parents were dropping them in the school and all these things. But today what we do, we drop them and we bring them back and all these things. You might be wondering again, why this fellow is talking all these things? And today's parents, they are like helicopters. Today's parents, they are like helicopters. They'll be hovering around them. And the term that we use is helicopter parenting. Have you heard this word? Can someone respond? Helicopter parenting.
No, sir.
Oh, they are like helicopters. They'll be going around their children. They'll be applying on behalf of their children. They'll be listening on behalf of their children. Nowadays, I know some of the parents, they'll be listening the lessons of their children on behalf of their children. So, application parents, they give, and they are with their children like anything. I'm not saying it is wrong. Good. But this helicopter parent results over a period of time, lot of HR problems when these children, they enter into organizations. For example, the sharing, caring culture. I think we are taught only always to get more and more and more. But when you go to office, you are not alone like you. There are many people. how to live with people, how to be in team, how to be a team member, how to resolve conflicts that arise in the organization. See, all these things, let me tell you, these people they confront when they entered into organizations. One of our, I think, students wrote a paper on helicopter parenting and HR issues. A research paper has been written. It has a lot of impact. And maybe some of you might have heard there is a movie, if I'm not wrong, Josh movie is there. There's a movie. I think that Nagarjuna sons asked a question. The topper, Are, do you know how to go to your house if your father doesn't turn up to school or something? See, reason is they are overprotected. I'm not saying you should not overprotect them. Only thing is the point I'm trying to put before you is, see, these things they are resulting in lot of changes in the organization, and these people they join an organization and there they find, I can tell you, altogether new generation, different kinds of people, and little amount of conflict likely to arise. So the change, why it is occurring, because of the social reasons, because of cultural reasons, there is a demographic change. Today we talk about demographic dividend, demographic disaster. See, if you do not train our younger generation properly, that will result in a greater disaster. Then again, if you see the political environment, I did not tell you. There were days only we were talking about, I know, when I was in high school, even I used to participate in these political campaigns. You cast your vote. At the time, I was hardly 12 or 13 years old because others were going. Even I used to go. I used to ask mother to cast her vote to this particular party, and I was doing all these things. In those days, hardly we know about one or two parties, one or two symbols. Today, politics or not politics, they have become part of our life. Now, it will have impact on organizations. Then there are changes in the economy. Um, of course, we are talking about being economically superpower and all these things. Changes in interest rate, recently changes in the interest rates, then GDP increasing, then economic blocks. See, all these things they cause a lot of change. I think uh, 2 days back, if I'm not wrong, government wants to impose curbs on importing laptops and some of these things. Am I correct, sir? Can someone 2 or 3 days back, they were saying they wanted to impose, I think, some ban on importing laptops and other things. They want to encourage local industry and all these things. Now, all these things will have impact. Then technology is ever changing. We couldn't visualize, I think, till 5 years back, a day will come, we will be doing our lessons online. And COVID has taught us several things how to survive in the midst of great calamities. See, all these things, they will have impact on organizations. We were not thinking about work from home. Technology has enabled work from home. You might be working for a company which is in USA, but you're operating from India. Maybe from your backyard, you're doing your work. All these things are important. General environment. Then we have business environment. The industry itself is undergoing a lot of change. there is heavy competition. The first thing is you have to again decide who is your competitor. Always we were thinking, I think when I was studying, I used to think Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, they are competitors like that. But today we have understood it's not like that. The water that I consume, it is the greatest competitor to this Coca-Cola. And nowadays people, they have become too health conscious. The buttermilk that you take, it has become a big competition. Now, uh, it becomes because even big industries, they are getting into this kind of business. Then consumers, they are demanding more and more. Then there are other changes. There are certain internal forces like when people, they have low performance, low satisfaction. Why low performance, low satisfaction? We need to make an effort to understand. Then the mission itself, it is undergoing change. Visions of the organizations get blurred. The other day I was discussing with my friend who happens to be principal of a college which they are running based on philanthropy. Father has a vision. Father wants to run based on philanthropy. Son wants to make it commercially viable. There is a clash in the vision and the mission of the organization. New leadership, they generate a lot of issues. Older generation value system, younger generation. It's not who is correct, who is wrong. It's not what kind of leadership fits into the situation. New leadership gives birth to new kind of issues. And all these things, sometimes the conflicts that are there in the organization, I'm telling you, when you recruit new persons into your organization, and definitely there will be, I can tell you, change in the organization. Not only that, when you take new recruits, it results in a lot of conflicts also. Now, it may look only one slide. What I would like to tell you is this becomes your essay answer in the examination. This becomes your essay answer in the examination. It may appear simple, but it's very important. Now, of course, whatever I spoke till now, I have kept these things before. Um, what causes change in the organization, nature of workforce? We talk about cultural diversity, aging population. Now, I want to ask you a question. Uh, do you think retired people should be taken into organizations? There are 8 participants, including Radha Krishna and Krishna Kumar. There are 6 participants.
So can you please repeat the question?
Should we take retired people also into organization after their retirement?
Yes, sir, we can, because their experience will help us in a lot.
Okay. On what basis you are telling they have experience?
It can be professionally or personally, in both the ways sometimes.
Say, I'm not saying you are wrong. We assume just because a person is retired, we think he has professional experience. Am I correct, ma?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Then one more thing. What do we think about young people? we think they are yet to get knowledge.
So
Say there is
comparatively, they might be having less knowledge and less experience.
there is a concept I'm telling you, ma. Ageism. Based on age, we are assuming so many things about people. You agree with me? Just because somebody has got gray hair, we think is highly knowledgeable, and somebody has got jet black hair. Once one professor commented on me. At the time, I had jet black hair. He said, "This jet black hair boy cannot compete with me." He was telling at the time. Even now, I have jet black hair because I'm dying. See, we assume several things that the nature of workforce undergoing change, that is the reason. Then technology, I spoke, economic shocks. Then I spoke about competitions. I spoke about social trends. And of course, the China war and all these things, war on terrorism. People that they spoke about 9/11, but today, war on terrorism, still that is going on. We were talking about internet chat rooms, but again, that has undergone lot of change. Today, I think recently, mm, one of my family members was telling that my grandson could learn um, these editions and all these things because of this Amazon.com. See, what they do is they ask what is the value of this one, and tens, units, tens, hundred, all these things, because they'll be putting all those things in the cart. See, they are buying online. So this is the kind of change we have got. Now, what are the perspectives of change management? There are three kinds of perspectives you have regarding change management. One is rational change approach, second one's learning approach, and third one is cognitive approach. Now, rational change approach, managers through rational change approach engage in critical analysis of thinking. They are supported through the events that lead to change, need for change in an organization. It is a planned process of change to improve organizational current status and expected results. Then the second one, we have a learning approach to change. It involves initiating change while following a series of events and happenings. It comes as a result of experiments. Don't think all these changes, whatever we are keeping, they'll be successful. You have to learn. These are the actions taken help managers learn more and prescribe solutions for planned change. Then we have a cognitive approach. These managers, they think outside the box. They diagnose the problem through a series of experiments and process. The mindset of manager changes cognitively before actually engaging into change process for the organization. So you think differently and you start changing. I think in marketing, maybe some of the teachers, they gave you these examples. In a particular organization, the goods are not sold properly, and they're wondering why those goods are not sold properly. People normally, what we think, because if the goods are not up to the quality, up to the mark, they are not sold. But sometimes what happens, the target market could be different. Their expectations could be different. What they desire, what they want could be different. Maybe they do not want to have such or great quality things. They want certain things for the time being. And that is the reason I think things will not click. I'll give one more example. You know about students near colleges. What are the type? They don't need star hotels. They may star hotels, maybe they might be supplying highly quality products, but the type of food they want, the type of things they want, they are different. I think the price should be within their reach. So this requires an out-of-box thinking why certain things are not clicking, why certain things are clicking. And one more thing I want to tell you, sometimes you people may not click at some places. Try to understand. It's not because you are less qualitative. It's because there is no connect. Maybe you are a highly qualitative person. The other side, they may not want this much from you. That is the reason you need to move to a place where you are valued at a higher level, where you get a better price than the present situation. Am I clear about this concept?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I know. I've seen it many times. They could not click at a lower level, but when they got to a higher level, I think they could click. So this requires a different way of thinking, a different perspective. This perspective of change, contingency perspective, it focuses on structural changes. Then people, they talk about ecological population perspective. It looks at the limits of change and resistance to change. Then there is a perspective called institutional perspective, learning change through imitation, professionalization, compliance. Then there's a perspective that is called resource dependence perspective, and it talks about strategic changes. In a nutshell, you need to know what are these perspectives to change. Now, what is the trying to? I'll do. Now, managerial role and the nature of change. This one is very important. Now, incremental change, transformational change, reactive change, and proactive. Now, based on this, what type of change you want, you will decide whether you want to tune yourself or whether you want to adapt yourself, whether you want to plan for change, or whether you want to get into a forced type of change. So what is the nature of change that is taking place in the environment, and what is the role of manager? Okay, it talks about this change. Managing planned change. Change, it is making things different. Planned change may mean activities that are intentional and goal-oriented. That means you want to bring the change, and that kind of change, it is called a planned change. Change agents. See, in every organization, there will be some people who act as catalysts, who assume the responsibility for managing the change, and these people are considered as change agents. They may look simple. All these are short question answers. I'm showing a slide, I'm talking, but some of these things, if they appear in the examination as short notes or something, just don't wonder or don't be surprised. Goals of plan change is we want to improve the ability of the organization to adapt to the changes in its environment. And it also involves changing the behavior of individuals and groups in organization. Now, what are the approaches to change? We have a model, 11 three-step model, then action research, survey feedback, process consultation, team building, intergroup development, appreciative inquiry. This one is also very important. What is 11 three-step model of change? The first stage of change is unfreezing. Create an urgency that there is a need for change and make them to think the present situation is not good. Unless we change, there is no hope for us to survive. And whatever the present unwanted things are there, we have to unfreeze. From there, we need to go to movement, and that will bring change. Then we have to refreeze. Now, before that, this one also we will discuss. This one is very important. It's called force field analysis. They'll ask you an exam. Now, this is the status quo. There are several forces that they make you to go forward to change. At the same time, there are several forces that don't allow you to change. These things are called restraining forces. Now, this is status quo. You want to go here, but there are forces, they never allow you to change. So, you need to make an analysis. What are the driving forces? What are the restraining forces? And thus you have to take your organization forward. Now, same force field analysis. These are the driving forces are high performance goals, new equipment, how to use, you have to learn, lot of competition that is driving you, employees with new skills, they are coming, you have to always upskill. There is a desire for increased influence and rewards. But it so happens when people, they want to change, suddenly there are some forces that emerge in the organization. We call them as restraining forces. They are group norms for output. In Hawthorne experiment, the group, they control the output. Sometimes they won't listen. They won't listen to the management words, but the unions and group, they prevail. And new equipment they did not want to use because their familiarity with the present equipment, and they did not want to take competition because they have become too complacent. Then employees with new skills, but what the thing is, need to learn new skills, then desire for increased influence and rewards, and the restraining forces is fear of reduced influence and rewards. So, you know, before computers entered, what is the role of people in the organization? After computers entered, what is the role of people in organization? Now, when computers came, I think internet revolution has come. Young boys and girls, they have a lot of exposure. For example, you take results. Before computers were there, some people were powerful in the offices regarding results. Results of, you can think, uh, school level or results at college level. Some people, they were too powerful. Now, when computers came, when internet has come, when they started publishing results or displaying results, I think things have undergone a lot of change. Now, this analysis is called a force field analysis. Very, very important from examination point of view. I was talking to you about 11th three-step model, and in that one, I was discussing about force field analysis. Now, What is Levin's three-step model? First thing I said, you need to unfreeze. Make them to realize there's a need for change. How are you going to unfreeze? Sometimes you have to move certain things, which includes even people, physically from one place to the other place. Second thing is you may have to remove the support they enjoy, maybe the support of union, support of other people. Sometimes the humiliating experience in the sense you have to, when you start appreciating people who are learning, who are upskilling, automatically the other people, they get a feeling that they need to learn, otherwise they will face a sort of humiliation by not having the required skills. Then you have to link reward with the skills they are learning with the change that is taking place. So this stage is called unfreezing stage. From this stage, we go to a changing stage. First thing is you should make people to comply with the things that you are told. Second things, you have to make people to internalize whatever change that has come or that has taken place, that has been taught. And the third thing is you should make people to identify themselves with the change that has come. So first one is unfreezing change. Second one is changing. Third one, it is called refreezing. All of us know, we attend several bhashans, several satsangs, and all these things. And whenever we are attending the satsangs, whatever you talk about Gopal Das Ji Gaur, am I correct? Is a person nowadays, I think, a lot of appeal to young boys and girls. You heard him? Have you heard of Gopal Das Ji?
No, sir.
No, he speaks very well, speaks very well. So when you're speaking, I think you feel like implementing, doing all these things. Once the bhashan is over, once the satsang is over, you come back and you get into normal world. And suddenly, small things, they irritate. Though we heard about how to change our attitude and all these things in his meeting. So therefore, what should happen is at periodical intervals, we need to refreeze. We should have reinforcement schedules so that the change that has taken place is crystallized. So they can ask you under essay question, 11th three-step model. Now, I request you people to go through a book. The title of the book is Our Iceberg is Melting. This is a story about penguins. I think they find that iceberg is melting. They need to go to a new place when they try to convey the kind of problem that they have faced. I think that the story John Cotter has taken, always I tell people, John Cotter, I think he writes something like this: storytelling is a powerful tool to convey things. But I tell people, even before John Cotter told the storytelling is a powerful tool, my grandmother used to tell a lot of stories and they have a lot of impact on us. So John Cotter has got 8-step model regarding this change. Now, what are these 8 steps? They ask you. First thing is you need to create an urgency. There is a need for change. You have to create that kind of urgency. Now, whenever you tell people you need to change, do you think they will accept immediately? No, they won't accept. So what you need to do is you have to formulate a guiding coalition. Nowadays, coalitions, they are, how, to what extent they have power, but we consider, say, you have to run based on this coalition because no one will support you 100%, okay? Based on something common. The other day, we had Friendship Day, and one quotation we were sending: friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends forever. Friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends forever. The third category people, I think normally we will have less. Therefore, there are people for a reason. Therefore, along with them, you should have a coalition. Then you need to form a strategy to bring about the change. Then, after forming the strategy, you need to communicate the strategy and you have to put forth your vision. Then, from there, you have to move. You have to enable, empower your people for taking action to incorporate changes. Then, change, sometimes it could be a very big process. Therefore, you should have short-term goals so that you can celebrate short-term victories. So the next point is you have to formulate, generate short-term goals, achievable goals. Whenever we achieve, we get a feeling, yes, we have achieved something. Then the next level is you have to sustain. You have to capitalize of wins and gains in order to produce greater results. And ultimately, you have to institute, incorporate new and better changes in workplace culture. In the exam, also, they can ask you, what are the 8-step model of change given by John Cottle? I think these things you can write. I think that the book will be very interesting if you can read. I think those who have got the hobby of reading and passion for reading and want to learn the subject in the form of stories, I think there's one book you need to read that's about Who Moved My Cheese. The second thing you need to read about um, seagulls. And third one you need to read about John Cotter's or Iceberg is Melting. There are good books. I think when you read these good books, I think um, whatever I'm talking, I think you'll be in a position to appreciate more. The reason is when you read those books, what happens, a sort of passion will be generated in you and you develop love for this subject. Same thing, whatever I spoke. Create climate for change, engage and enable whole organization, implement a sustained change. Same John Cotter's 8 steps, they try to put into 3 big points. There is another model we have got, DICE model. So whenever you want to bring a transformation or change, you have to consider 4 important things. What is the duration of time of the change program? You have to think, is it a short term or long term? Then the second thing is I stands for integrity, that project team performance integrity, ability to complete the initiative on time. Third thing, you have to say the commitment of the top management for this change. And the fourth one is the effort over and above the usual work that you put in order to bring the change. And this model is called a DICE model. Okay. So, Adker model, it says, you have to create awareness, you have to create desire, then knowledge you have to create, ability you have to create, and reinforcement. These are some of the things that are given to you. Oh, so what I will do before coming to this. Oh, I'm sorry, there's something wrong. Uh, 10 popular explanations Okay. Why people, they want to avoid change? Something funny, you can read. We have never done it before. Therefore, now we would not want to do it. Nobody else has ever done it before. It can't be done. You say it, it may be done, but it won't work in a small company. It may work in a small company, but it won't work in a large company. Say, we want to give some pretext in order to avoid change. It may work in a small company, it may work in a large company, but it won't work in our company. That is how people, they want to avoid it. Oh, it may work even in big company, our company, but right now we are not ready for change. And why do you talk about change? It's working. Right now, the present situation is okay. Why do you want to change? We have been doing this for the past 20 years, 25 years. Why do you want us to change? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. People, they try to give different kinds of explanations in order to avoid change. So let us discuss why people resist change. There are certain reasons, we consider them as individual reasons why they resist change. The individual reason is we are habituated to certain things. Habituated, under this one you can put a number of things because it's 11:51. I need to be a little quick. The second thing is the present situation is a highly secured situation. Why should I expose myself to greater risk? I do not know what's going to happen if the new change comes. The next one, it's called fear of unknown. The unknown devil is better than unknown God. Select information processing. Oh, I can give you a number of examples. People, they do not, they listen what they want. They see what they want. There's a lot of information, but they choose the information that they want. You can think about, we used to have, we used to cook food on firewood. From there, we are shifted to gas. And to shift from firewood to gas, my God, a lot of things have taken place. Now, why all these things? You talk about toilets at home. Oh, a lot of things are there. So now it took a lot of time. Whenever there's a change, people, what they try to do is they choose information and they want to put forward before you the information that they like. Then there are reasons, we consider them as organization reasons like structural inertia. Then the change is always limited, not on the entire thing. You want to change, but the group never allows you to change. And all these things you are considered as expert in one particular area. And now you start feeling because of this change, you may lose your expertise. Then your friends, you are enjoying all these days. Now, because of these new changes, you'll be dislocated, disturbed. This may cause a change in the relationships. And the next one is there's a threat to established resource allocations. Some units, they may not get required amount of resources. Therefore, they have a fear, they resist change. Now, the question is, how do you overcome resistance to change? Of course, in our Telugu language, we talk about Samadana, Veda, Dandopayalu. Okay, same thing. We try to put it in a different way. We need to educate people regarding any aspect of change. You can talk about diversity. You can talk about glass ceiling. You have to educate. You have to communicate. Communicate means make them to realize. Try to talk to them in the way they understand. Then allow people to participate in the change. Many times, I know many leaders, they are very good, they are very fast, they were doing a lot of work, wonderful work. But the thing is, they are unable to take people along with them, that has created a big problem. So people's participation is very important. And again, when I come back to communication, communication doesn't mean you have to talk in such a language which no one can understand. Some people, they speak very well, but the other party finds it very difficult to understand. So therefore, again, I'm reminding you what John Maxwell wrote. Many communicate, very few connect. So when I talk about education and communication, your ability to connect to people, it will bring change in the organization. Then take people along with you. That's the most important thing. See, many changes they failed. The reason is people they are not involved, people they are not taken along with them, or organizational members are not taken along with them. Then the next thing that we talk about is you have to facilitate. Saying whenever some change is there, there's bound to be some amount of anxiety, new things you need to learn, and you need to facilitate, uh, facilitate change. You have to conduct training program. Say, I'm getting confused with this word. Uh, we have to conduct training programs. The most important thing is, can you make this change less painful, less with less amount of anxiety? Can you make it? Can you give them a full support? Even sometimes I think you have to give them support to such an extent, you should allow them to commit or allow them to commit small mistakes also. The evaluation should not be too quick. Whenever, see, if the quick evaluation is there, I think people, they suffer a lot. Now, these things are very important. Then you have to negotiate. Negotiate in the sense we are bringing this kind of change. Because of this change, organization is going to be benefited in this way, and you will be encouraged. But there are some people, they never listen to you. Therefore, you may have to coerce, and you have to bring that kind of change. Sometimes you have to manipulate. Sometimes you should use cooperation and competition, cooptation. These things you have to introduce in the organization, and you have to bring change in the organization. Then the other things, tactics for dealing with resistance to change, give them emotional support, avoid threat. Always you need to build a kind of trust. Timing of change is very important. You see, the social relationships are strengthened. Always try to have empathy. These things will help you to overcome resistance to change in the organization. I think now the time is 11:59. I'll stop my presentation since you need to go to other places also. Thank you so much. I think you have to attend the other classes. Okay. Deepa Keshavan, madam, thank you. I think normally you come before others come. Today. You were. It's not.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I came in little late.
No, no.
Little busy with
see. I'm not
work at
seeking.
home.
I'm not seeking explanation, but only the moment I open my screen, some of the names I see. That's the only
I
thing.
understand, sir.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.